14-meter difference right now. Ken ahead of Chris by a little bit, and looking a little bit like he's got slightly faster splits, but Chris has just tapped the cadence up by a beat and driven that split down a bit. So we'll have to watch how this plays out here in the men's 60 event. Go ahead.
And a beautiful shot here on the screen. That's of Chris Ives and Ken Gates. Ken Gates of Texas Rowing Center. Chris Ives from Engine Room Indoor Rowing Club. So both in the same category. That's the men's 60 event.
Now they're going and stabilizing at that distance. And over the last, I'd say, 300 meters or so, it looks like they've been very much moving at the same rate, the same speed, holding that gap. The question is, what has Chris got left here as they come in the last 500? Is he going to be able to sprint through Ken or not? Let's watch how that develops. We've got about 400 meters to go right now with these two gentlemen. Go ahead.
And the camera pans back over to Nikolai Kurmakov here. We see him moving through the final stretch of this race. Margins and positions have stayed somewhat consistent in that men's 65 category, although I'd say Steve Crum out and away. He's at 33 strokes per minute. He's moving the fastest within that category at a 140, and he's not looking back as he moves into the last 250. So Sherry, in that group, Steve Crum, someone we're going to want to keep our eyes on. He's 250 to go.
Yeah, he's looking strong. Coming into that last 250, your brain is now down to counting strokes, and you are just trying to get over that finish line. Those three, Steve, Dave, and Nikolai, are all really staying quite consistent. And I want to also draw attention here to ERG 37 and 38 and 36. All of these guys in the green in the second row back are also really challenging each other in that last 250.
And a beautiful shot here of positions 1 through 10 on the screen, that graphic. That's the Master F, age 60 to 64. We see right here just a gorgeous shot then of our first person to cross the line. It's Ken Gates. Coming through just behind him, Chris Ives. Just ever so close between those two gentlemen. Dan Kinzer now in his final few. And that's the men's 60 category, so we see them just catching their breath. A job well done. Plenty happening on the course, though, as we look at the men's 65. Alden, all of these athletes finishing so close to each other.
Yeah, a lot of noise down here on the field or on the floor, Colleen, so tough to hear anything beyond the crowd right now. But we're seeing a lot of the athletes in the men's 60 event crossing over the line. Even back at the pack here now, there's some tight races still going on in some of our events here. People right side by side, and then maybe 1 or 2 meters apart as they try and finish strong. You can see the pain on their faces as they're driving right to the end here.
Steve Crum now catching his breath. Of course, taking a photo of the screen. Just next to him, a shot there of Nikolai Kurmakov in his Riverside gear. And a nice fist bump between the athletes. There it is. And in their final few, Ramsey Trimble, Len Burt, Paul Millette,